The senator from Delaware.
Mr. President, it is an honor and a joy for me to come to the floor today, not just as the senator representing Delaware, but as the co-chair of the Senate Law Enforcement Caucus, which I am very proud to have the chance to lead with my friend and colleague, Senator Blunt of Missouri, as you've just heard. He has recited some of the many ways in which we have been able to work together. Senator Blunt is a seasoned senior appropriator, someone who's experienced in the House of Representatives, in the private sector, at home leading an educational institution, in state and local government, along with my experience in local government, the private sector, has allowed us to do, I think, really good and positive things for the men and women of law enforcement. This is National Police Week, an opportunity for us to not just here in the Senate, but all over the country, to thank the men and women of law enforcement, to thank the hundreds of thousands of men and women in state and local law enforcement, as well as in federal law enforcement agencies, who make possible the opportunity we have to enjoy our freedoms. You know, our basic safety, our ability to travel far and wide, to speak and to live and to praise and believe as we hope. All of this is made possible, really, because of the ways in which our law enforcement officers guarantee those freedoms by literally putting their lives on the line for us each and every day. For that, we are eternally grateful. The Law Enforcement Caucus, which Senator Blunt and I founded, has held a number of, I think, engaging and important bipartisan sessions. You heard the senator reference things like the high-intensity drug trafficking area program, or RIS, the regional intelligence sharing system that helps to connect resources between federal and state and local law enforcement. We also recently had a session on sharing relationship building models, where we had folks in from Delaware and from Missouri to talk about how law enforcement serves as positive role models and mentors in the community through terrific programs. I look forward to continuing to work with my friend and colleague, Senator Blunt, on these issues in the year ahead in the Law Enforcement Caucus, and to talk briefly here on the floor today about how we should not just give great speeches, but actually take important actions to demonstrate to the families, to the men and women of law enforcement, that we care deeply about their service and about whether they come home at the end of their shift. I serve on the Senate Judiciary Committee. We have recently, on a unanimous basis, advanced a series of bills that will help advance officer safety, not least of which is making permanent the federal Bulletproof Vest partnership program that has literally saved lives all over the country. The Capitol Police, the police who protect Delaware's Capitol and our courthouse, had a dramatic and personal experience with that when 2 law enforcement officers' lives were saved when they were shot in the line of duty, and it was only because they were wearing vests made possible by this federal-state partnership that they survived. I'll also continue to work to support the COPS program, which ensures we have officers on the ground in communities large and small. In Delaware, Cheswold, Delmar, Laurel, Ocean View, Smyrna, my home city of Wilmington, all have been able to hire new officers in recent years because of the COPS program. We're also working together on reforms to the Public Safety Officers Benefits Program to ensure the families of officers who are permanently disabled or who lose their lives in the line of duty receive the benefits which they richly deserve. Let me, if I might, given the press of time, conclude by briefly thanking and honoring a few specific officers from Delaware's law enforcement community for their service this past year. We have not had any Delawareans' names added to the wall of honor referenced by the senator from Missouri, but all of us who have affection for and support the law enforcement community in Delaware know that we are simply blessed this year to have not joined that terrible role of great honor of those who have given their lives in the line of duty. Let me briefly thank Sergeant Paul Doherty of the Delaware State Police, who was awarded the Robert Seinsoth Memorial Award as the Crime Stoppers Law Enforcement Officer of the Year. His investigatory work to follow up on a robbery led to the apprehension of serial dangerous criminals who'd harmed other Delawareans. Let me honor Detective Jonathan Moyer, who led an investigation of fraud and theft at Beebe Hospital in Lewis, Delaware. Detective Ryan Schmidt from the Dover Police Department is a 6-year veteran of that department and maintained an amazing clearance rate of 84% in investigated burglaries, robberies, and attempted murder and assault homicide. Last, let me recognize Brad Cordry, a detective who is Delaware's Child Welfare Professional of the Year and has served under Georgetown Chief of Police R.L. Hughes, who said, quote, that Brad's dedication, compassion, and tenacity to solve serious cases are unmatched. There is so much more I could say, but given the number of my colleagues who've also come to the floor to speak, let me conclude by simply saying how grateful all of us are to the men and women of law enforcement. And on this Police Week, what a great blessing it is to be able to continue to work with my colleague, Senator Blunt of Missouri, in co-chairing the Law Enforcement Caucus in this Congress and hopefully for many years to come. Thank you, Mr. President. With that, I yield the floor.
Mr. President.